Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. Let's get right into it. Today we'll be reading from r/Pettyrevenge. The first post is titled, I tell a dirt bike story at work. Dude says he knows more and can show me some things. I was at work in the break room talking about dirt biking. My son and I both raced motocross. We weren't awesome, but we had fun. Probably 4 or 5 people were listening and the dude comes up and says, "You're doing it wrong. I know way more. I could show you." "Oh, you want to front me off in front of people?" "Okay, dude. I'm free Sunday, so come on over and show me." The dude, okay. I don't think this turned out like he planned. Maybe he had no plan. Just a mouth that ran too much. So he shows up on Sunday and my son and I are in the field behind my house, fully geared up. MX pants and jerseys, helmet, boots, gloves, goggles, etc. With my race bike, a Suzuki 250 two-stroke. It's a beast. If you crank the throttle too much, it will loop out, flip totally over backwards at 40 miles per hour. It will hurt and will cost money to fix. The dude shows up in tennis shoes, jeans, and a t-shirt. I fire up the bike. It's loud and sounds like a million pissed off bees. He had maybe ridden once in his life. I'd ridden for 20 years. I'm holding his feet to the fire. My 12-year-old son knows the deal and he's right with me. I ride it around doing wheelies and hitting top gear, hitting small jumps and getting some small air. I fly up, slide to a stop, and shut it off. Here you go. Show me how it's done. The dude is pissing down both legs. He let his mouth talk him into a spot he doesn't have the talent for, and it just might put him in the ER. Probably not how he planned on spending his Sunday. He gets on the bike and you can practically hear his knees knocking against the bike. He tries to kickstart it. He can't. I take the bike and fire it up on the first kick. He gets back on and kills it as he's too scared to give it enough gas. Can't even operate the clutch. He can't start it. I take it back, fire it up, give it back. He kills it again. I know he sucks. My son knows he sucks. And he knows he sucks. We all know it's gonna go bad for him. The only question is, how bad? I start it again. Tell him it's easy. Do some wheelies, give it back. He kills it again. I fire it up and tell him to just give it more gas. He revs it up. He lets out the clutch too quickly and the bike loops out immediately. From where the rear tire spun to where the exhaust pipe dug the ground was a total of 4 feet. The bike dies, he's flat on his back and wondering if he's broken something. After a long pause, I ask him, "Are you done showing me how it's done?" The dude in a very quavery voice, "Yep." I pick the bike up. He broke the rear fender off when he looped it out. "You know you gotta pay for that, right?" Him, "Yep." I go to work the next day and tell everybody. All of it. The quaking, the killing the bike multiple times, the crash within 4 feet. They called him Crash after that. TLDR, dude says he can ride a dirt bike better than me in front of people. It turns out, he can't ride at all. The second story is titled, You Call Me Weak and Make Fun of Me for It. I humiliate you by beating you in an arm wrestling match in front of everyone. I don't know if this counts for the sub, but oh well. So at my school there are 2 choices for PE class. There's a regular PE and there's a weight training class, which is exactly how it sounds. There's a gym with a ton of weights and workout machines where the weight training students work. I have weight training this year, so it's no secret that I am one of the weaker students of the class. Most people there are strong and work out a lot outside of school. I'm more of a skinnier guy and can't lift much, which leads me to getting made fun of sometimes. But over the last few months, I've been getting stronger by working out more and pushing my limits. One of the people who make fun of me the most is this guy named Xander. For example, whenever I lift something that's around 70 pounds and struggle a bit, he'll set the machine on 110 and easily do it. Or when I do 5 pull-ups and I'm struggling near the end, he'll just show off and easily do 20. Yeah, he likes showing off how athletic he is. Also, when I do squats with a weight on my shoulders for the first time, he said, "Wow, we finally found something he can do." Yeah, he's pretty annoying. So, another thing that is in my weight training class is an arm wrestling ring. Basically, it's a table where people arm wrestle a lot. I've gone up against some people, won some, lost some. It's all pretty fun, except Xander likes getting cocky and making comments about how he's better whenever he wins. He was also the second guy I ever went up against, and yeah, he did it to me too. He did the thing where he doesn't do anything, letting his opponent do all the work before he easily beats them, since he was way stronger than me at the time. But now, I'm stronger, and like I said, he challenged me to see how strong I really am. And we got to the table. A big amount of people in the class were watching because Xander was hyping it up, saying he was gonna beat me. We eventually got to the table, and it starts. I could tell he was doing the same thing he did last time, by letting me do all the work at first, and I was planning on easily putting my hand down. I could tell when he tried putting my hand down because I saw and felt him start to push, but I wasn't moving much. I started to push harder and use all the strength in my arm. Then, boom, his hand hit the pad, and I won. He was annoyed, and after that he stopped messing with me. So yeah, that happened. This story is titled, You Won't Take Down My Internet Cable? Snip snip. So about a year ago, I was getting some branches trimmed on a big evergreen in my backyard. The arborist told me I needed to have my power line and internet line disconnected so it wouldn't be hit by falling branches. I called the electric company and they agreed to be out by 8 a.m. on the day of service. Then I called the internet provider. I explained the situation and they transferred me. Hello, I'd like to schedule someone to disconnect my internet for tree trimming. Oh, we don't offer that. Let me transfer you. I'm not exaggerating when I say I was transferred around different department for 2 hours. I kept getting transferred back to people I had previously talked to, but everyone seemed equally appalled by my request. I would explain, disconnect the internet cable so the tree branches don't fall on it. But it was like I was speaking a foreign language. Finally, I reached someone on the phone who offers a solution. Sure thing, I can send someone out. It's $150 to send someone out, and then you pay per hour. The person on the phone explained. You're kidding. I have to pay for them to come disconnect the line. Will they come back for free? It'll be $150. Plus $100 for each hour. I was beyond frustrated at this point, so of course I didn't schedule anyone to come out. The morning of the tree trimming, I was out on the ladder with rubber gloves and a pair of scissors, ready to cut the internet line. Luckily right then, the reliable electrical folks showed up to disconnect the power. While you're up there, could you disconnect the internet? I asked. Are you sure? The electrical guy asked, looking concerned. I looked pretty determined at this point, being on a ladder and all, so the electrical guy did me a solid and cut the cable. The tree guys came and went. The next day, I called the internet provider again, saying that my internet stopped working, and I had no idea why. Then I went to work. The internet repair guy got sent to my house for free and then called me pissed off. Who cut your tree? He asked. They cut our wire. This is a ton of work to fix, so I'm going to charge them for it. I told him it definitely wasn't the tree guys, as they had come a week prior and my internet had just stopped working. It ended up taking him 5 hours to fix. The repair guy was thinking that if the internet had just been disconnected, it would have been an easy reconnection job. But now he had to wire down the road their main fiber line. Too bad for the internet provider. I'm just glad it was all free. This story is titled, Block My Driveway. I don't know where your car went. This just happened. In fact, I'm still a little pumped of adrenaline. So I live in a street connected to an elementary school. Other residents, including myself, have issues on weekdays around 3:30 p.m. that parents will be parked all along our street to go pick up their kids from school. There is no problem with this, as I expected. We have a guy named Terry on our street. Terry had left all the neighbors a business card saying that if any people block their driveway to call him immediately, and he would tell them right away. He's basically on standby from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in our neighborhood. I never had a chance to use this card yet. The only issue for me is that I finish work at 2 p.m. and I go get groceries and usually end up home around 3:30 p.m. A few times now I've come home to park in my driveway and there's a vehicle completely blocking me. AKA, instead of parking on the curb, they will park at the end of my driveway, making it impossible for me to park in. So I have to ask the owners to move. Today, specifically, there was an old Dodge minivan blocking my driveway. When I got out of my car to knock on the tinted window, I realized no one was inside. I thought maybe they were napping in the back while they wait. No one was in the vehicle. This is specifically annoying because the curb behind and in front of him were both vacant. Maybe they weren't vacant when he parked there. So I got the card out of my glove compartment and called Terry. I gave him my house number, and in less than 5 minutes, it was gone. So what happened next? I decided to start cleaning my car on the driveway until the owner came by. My first plan was to tell the owner that he or she had blocked the driveway, and I had it towed. But as I was outside cleaning my car, it's 22 degrees outside in November, don't ask how Canadian weather works, I saw him coming back with his son. He looked incredibly confused as I was cleaning my car. I noticed him and didn't say anything as he was on his phone. So he actually came up to me really upset. Hey pal, have you seen my van? Are you that much of a call it for a dough when I was gone 3 minutes? So my plan changed. I said, wait, what van? I decided to play dumb. Well, about an hour later, he rang my doorbell and asked for details. I told him to off and came here to write this. Terry is back in his driveway with his tow truck, and I plan on giving him a 6-pack of beer for helping me. TLDR, some rando parked his van to block my driveway. I got it towed and played like I'd never seen it. This story is titled, I met my old workplace bully whilst he was on a date. So back in June, I left a very toxic workplace of 8 years. I mainly left due to having a breakdown from being overworked. But this one particular person made working there even worse on top of the excessive work. This guy was 1 year younger than me. He was a 30-year-old man, the type of guy that appears to have peaked in secondary school. Very jock-like mentality, and childish too. He was part of my team of 4. I was civil with him just because I had to work with him, but he was my workplace bully. Apart from just his general workplace banter, this guy, let's call him Chris, was relentless with his teasing. What would usually be classified as playful always pushed to bullying from him because he never knew when to quit. And if he noticed you were getting stressed or annoyed, he'd use you as a target of teasing for the rest of the day. He'd be super nice to you when it's just the two of you, but as soon as he has an audience, he picks his victim and will tease them constantly in what he would call playful. If you ever got annoyed and stood up for yourself, he'd say he's only messing and make out like he's the victim. He's that type of person. One specific thing that he absolutely lost any respect I had for him was when I was still working there. Some ex-employee wrote a very aggressive and angry review on Glassdoor about the company, just because this person used a phrase that I use. Chris thought the review was me. As much as I proved that it wasn't me, didn't even have a Glassdoor account at the time, he was relentless with campaigning around the office that I was the one that wrote it. I also believe he told the boss that I was the one that wrote it once I left, and that's why I didn't get any freelance work from them afterwards. So after I left my workplace, my old team still having a group WhatsApp that I'm part of, and we still talk almost every other day on it. After I left, the group chat went a bit quiet. I assumed that they made a new one of just them, which is fair, but the chat still kept going occasionally. I unfollowed and unfriended Chris on Facebook and Instagram because I just didn't want to be associated with him anymore. In the middle of the group chat, he broadcasts, "Why did you unfollow and unfriend me on Facebook?" while also adding me. He wrote this message at 6:30 in the morning. I woke up to this message broadcasted in the group chat. It pissed me off. So I was honest and said that he's a bully. Instead of making a big thing of it, I'd rather just remove him from the equation. I also said that it was immature of him to do this over group chat and not in private. He didn't say anything. He just left the group chat and blocked me on everything. The group chat pretty much died after that. I was at the time livid. This 30-year-old man set fire to the group chat, saw what I said, and then ran off. I thought it must be a blessing in disguise because I finally got to say what I wanted to him, and I now don't have to acknowledge him again. But I was wrong. Skip to 3 months later, me and my husband walking through town and stopped off at a pub to get some grub. And lo and behold, I see Chris there with a new girl I hadn't seen before. I was feeling extra confident and decided to approach. I went and said, "Hey Chris, long time no see," with a big grin on my face. Chris, looking like a deer in headlights, I asked him, "How are things? You doing well?" And he replied in a very normal way, clearly not wanting the conversation to continue and looking awkward as fuck in front of his new girl. She asked how we knew each other. I generously waited for Chris to say, "We used to work together." So I added on that. Yeah, it's quite funny really. Chris used to be my workplace bully. He's the reason why I struggled financially after I left my old job, because he accused me of writing a hostile review to the company, which I proved I didn't do, and lost me a lot of freelance work because of it. He was gobsmacked, face redder than a traffic light. The new girl clearly looking confused and uncomfortable. Neither of them responded. I didn't want it to carry on much longer as it wasn't really fair on her. But just to add salt to the wound, I said, "So, is this your new girlfriend, Catherine? Or is this Georgia? What happened with Sarah since someone said you were still with her last week?" All of these are completely true. This girl goes from confused to angry in the blink of an eye and just stares at Chris. I just say, "Oh, whoops. I really put my foot in my mouth, haven't I? I better go. It was nice seeing you again, Chris," and walk off. My husband, well, he felt bad for the girl, which I do too. But to be fair, I might have saved her from inevitably being dumped by him a few weeks later when he gets bored of her. Was very proud that I finally got my closure revenge on him. It feels amazing. Like I feel petty as fuck, but it felt good for there to finally be some consequences to this Chris guy being a dick. There's also a similar post down in the comments. It's from Important Scary 6973. When I was 16, I worked for a fast food place that rhymes with Mary Ween. My new manager hated me because the owner wanted me trained as a shift manager. When I came into work one day, she handed me a bucket and a toothbrush and told me to scrub all the floor, including pulling all the equipment out. I said, "No way. I will mop, but no toothbrush." She knew I was a young mom and kept bullying, saying I have no choice. Peace out, bitch. I quit. Cut to 7 years later, she comes to an interview at my new professional job. She saw me and all the color drained from her face. Interviewer asked, "Oh, you guys know each other?" She tried to be my best friend. When she left, the interviewer came to me and asked if she was a good employee. I told her what happened. She didn't get the job. Fuck you, Christy. You deserved it. Before the video ends, I would like to say thank you for listening or watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be working towards making a video every other day. I ask to be a bit patient with me as I'm still learning and figuring out my way on this app. I know there are many different channels that have the same format or style, so I really appreciate you stopping by my channel. And as always, I hope to see you again soon. Place that rhymes with Mary Wen. Mary Ween? I'm not exactly sure. Looking awkward as... Really, I wonder why. I generously waited for Chris used